Alright, so here's my story. I don't even know where to start, but I guess the beginning is a good place. I'm Eric. Spent the last 14 months deployed in Afghanistan. You know the drill. Hot days, cold nights, long hours. You count down the days till you come home, imagining that perfect moment when you walk through the door and your wife runs into your arms, crying happy tears. That's what I thought would happen. Instead, I came home to a stranger. Mandy was acting normal. Too normal. The kind of normal where you can tell something's off, but they don't think you can see it. Smiling too much. Talking too much. Touching me like she was overcompensating. I had been back for 2 days, and something in my gut told me everything I knew was a lie. The weirdest part, she was happy. Not, my husband finally came home happy. More like, relieved. Like she had dodged something. That was my first red flag. The second, her phone. Mandy was never the type to be glued to her phone. She hated social media, barely texted, and always left it lying around. But now, that thing was practically surgically attached to her hand. Screen always face down, notifications silenced. She even took it to the bathroom. And then, she slipped up. We were lying in bed, and she fell asleep with her phone in her hand. It vibrated once, and I glanced over. Just a name. Tyler. I didn't touch it. Not yet. I wasn't ready for what I'd find. But I knew. I knew my wife was cheating on me. And I knew she had no idea that I was about to destroy her life. I didn't sleep that night. Just lay there, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. The anger hadn't hit me yet, not fully. It was like my brain refused to accept it. But my gut knew. By morning, I had a plan. Mandy was acting the same. Smiling too much, talking too much, kissing my cheek like we were newlyweds. It made me sick. I played along, though. Told her I'd go to the gym to get back in shape. She told me to take it easy. I kissed her forehead and walked out the door like I wasn't about to flip her whole world upside down. I didn't go to the gym. I went to my buddy Mark's place. Mark and I had served together, and he worked IT now. Good with tech, good with digging. I told him what was going on, and he didn't even hesitate. 15 minutes later, he handed me a burner phone. "You want proof," he said. "You'll have it." I didn't ask how he did it. I didn't care. All I had to do was install a little program on Mandy's phone. It would forward her texts, track her calls, and give me remote access. That night, I waited until she fell asleep. Her phone was charging on the nightstand, locked tight. But Mandy, she was predictable. I knew her password. It took 10 seconds. By the next morning, I had access to everything. And what I saw made my blood run cold. Tyler wasn't just some random guy. He was someone I knew. Someone we both knew. He was my best man. Tyler. My best man. My so-called friend. I stared at my phone, reading through texts that made my stomach turn. Mandy had been cheating for months. Probably the entire time I was deployed. The messages weren't even subtle. "Mandy, I miss you. I hate sneaking around. When can I see you? Tyler. Soon, baby. You know I'd rather be with you than her. Mandy. I can't wait until he leaves again. I feel so guilty when he's home." Guilt. That was rich, considering she was in my bed the night before telling me how much she loved me. I scrolled further, my hands shaking. Photos. Videos. A hotel receipt from a place I had taken her to on our anniversary. She had gone there with him. I felt like a fool, but I didn't lose control. Not yet. Instead, I took screenshots of everything. Every message, every call log, every damning detail. Then I emailed it all to myself, just in case. By the time Mandy woke up, I was in the kitchen making coffee like nothing had happened. She came in, stretched, and wrapped her arms around me from behind. "Morning, babe," she murmured against my back. "You okay? You seem quiet." I forced a smile and turned to kiss her forehead, just thinking about what comes next. And I meant it, because Mandy had no idea that I wasn't just leaving her. I was about to make sure she lost everything. I wasn't the type to explode. I wasn't going to scream or throw things. That's not how you win. You win by being patient, by making sure when you strike, it hurts 10 times worse. So I played my role. Loving husband, Clueless fool. Mandy kept up her act too, kissing me like she wasn't thinking about Tyler, lying to my face like she hadn't spent the last year stabbing me in the back. But I knew. I was about to make sure she felt every ounce of betrayal I did. First step, legal warfare. I met with a lawyer that same day. I told him everything, showed him the proof. Luckily, I had been smart before my deployment. Our house, the cars, everything major, in my name. Mandy wasn't getting a damn thing. But I wasn't just divorcing her. Oh no, that would be too easy. I wanted everyone to know what she had done. So, I started gathering more evidence. I checked our bank statements. Guess what? She had been using my money to take Tyler on trips. Dinners, gifts, a whole weekend at a beach resort. Paid for by me. That was fuel for the fire. Next, her job. Mandy worked in corporate, a company that hated bad press. And guess what? Tyler worked there too. Office romance. Not allowed. Affair with a married coworker? Definitely not allowed. I wasn't going to just expose them. I was going to burn their entire world down. And the best part, Mandy had no idea I was 3 steps ahead. That night, she curled up next to me in bed, sighing contently. "I love you," she whispered, like she actually meant it. I kissed her forehead and pulled her close. "I love you too, babe," I murmured, because soon she was going to regret every single lie. Mandy had no idea she was sleeping next to the man who was about to wreck her entire life. The next morning, I played the doting husband, made her breakfast, kissed her goodbye as she left for work. She smiled at me like she wasn't the biggest liar on the planet. And as soon as she walked out that door, I got to work. First move, the HR department at her job. I sent an anonymous email. Attached were screenshots of her messages with Tyler, texts, calls, even a picture of them in a hotel room. I made sure to highlight the company's policy on inter-office relationships. Tyler was her superior. That alone was enough to get them both fired. Then, I forwarded the same email to the CEO, just for good measure. Next, I called our bank, froze the joint account before she could drain it. I already moved my money into a separate account days ago. Mandy. She'd have just enough left to pay for gas. I wasn't done yet. Tyler had a girlfriend, a fiancée, actually. I found her on Instagram, sent her a message. "I think you should see this." Then, I attached everything. And just like that, the first domino fell. By noon, Mandy's world was crumbling. At exactly 12:37 p.m., my phone rang. Mandy. I let it ring, smirked as I watched the screen. Then, another call. This time from Tyler's fiancée. Oh, this was about to get good. I sat there, staring at my phone as it rang again. Mandy. Then, Tyler's fiancée. Then Mandy again. I didn't answer. I wanted her to stew in it, to let the panic build. Instead, I leaned back in my chair, sipping my coffee, imagining exactly what was happening on her end. She was probably at work when the email hit. Maybe sitting at her desk, sipping her overpriced latte, thinking it was just another normal day. Then, boom, an email pops up from HR. She opens it, expecting some boring company announcement. Instead, she sees everything. Screenshots of her texts, the hotel receipts, all of it. Maybe her hands start shaking. Maybe her heart starts pounding as she realizes she's screwed. She looks up. Across the office, Tyler is probably doing the same thing. Maybe they lock eyes. Maybe he's already reaching for his phone, dialing her in a panic. Then, a call from HR. A meeting. Immediately, I chuckled to myself, imagining the exact moment Mandy's world started to collapse. But that was only the beginning. A few minutes later, another text came in. This one from Mark. "Mark, bro, Tyler's fiancée just posted a novel on Facebook. She went nuclear." I clicked the link, and there it was, a public post for all 600 plus of her friends and family to see. To everyone who thought Tyler was such a great guy, think again. While I was busy planning our wedding, he was busy screwing another woman, one who was married no less. He lied. He cheated. He disrespected me in ways I can't even begin to describe. And the best part, he didn't even have the guts to confess. I had to find out through proof sent by a stranger. Whoever you are, thank you. So congratulations, Mandy. You can have him. Just know you're getting a liar, a cheater, and a coward. Hope it was worth it. The comments were already exploding. Her friends were furious. Her family, disgusted. Mutual friends were already tagging Tyler, demanding answers. His sister chimed in, calling him a disgrace. And Mandy, well, she was tagged too. Oh, I could only imagine what it felt like to get outed like that. To know that everyone she knew, her coworkers, her friends, her family, were watching as her dirty laundry was aired for the world to see. It wasn't just a mistake anymore. It was public humiliation. And I hadn't even gotten started yet. At exactly 1:15 p.m., Mandy finally left a voicemail. I let it sit for a minute before playing it back, listening to the panic in her voice. Eric, please pick up. I don't know what's happening, but people at work are looking at me weird and, oh my God, I think I'm in trouble. Tyler's locked in a meeting with HR, and please just call me, okay? I need to talk to you. I smiled. Oh, Mandy, you needed to talk to me? Well, guess what? I didn't need a damn thing from you. By 3 p.m., the next phase of my plan was in motion. I had already filed the divorce papers that morning, but I wasn't going to tell her. Not yet. No, I wanted to serve her in a way she'd never forget. So I made a call. My cousin, Jake, was a process server. His job, delivering legal documents to unsuspecting people. And today, his job was to ruin Mandy's afternoon. Do it at work, I told him. Make it as public as possible. He laughed. Damn, man. You really want her to suffer, huh? I didn't even hesitate. More than you know. By 4:23 p.m., I got a text from Jake. Jake. She cried, bro. Right there in the office. It was brutal. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. Good. Mandy had spent the last year lying to me, sneaking around, thinking she could play me for a fool. Now, she was getting exactly what she deserved. And the best part, I was just getting started. By the time 5 p.m. rolled around, Mandy was having the worst day of her life. And I was sitting at home, watching it all unravel like a movie. Jake had done exactly what I asked. He walked straight into her office, handed her the divorce papers in front of her entire team, and said loud enough for the whole floor to hear, Mandy, you've been served. She went white as a ghost, hands shaking, face frozen. She barely managed to grab the envelope before her boss called her into another meeting. And Tyler. Oh, Tyler was already gone. Word on the street was that he had been escorted out of the building. Security. No warnings. Fired on the spot. By the time Mandy got out of her meeting, everyone knew. She didn't just lose her marriage. She lost her job. Her security badge revoked. Her email disabled. By 5:30 p.m., she was standing in the parking lot, staring at her phone like it was her last lifeline. And then, just like clockwork, she called me again. I answered this time. Eric. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Shaky. Desperate. I let the silence stretch. Then I said calmly, Hey, Mandy. There was a pause. A long one. Like she was trying to figure out if this was real. Then, she snapped. What the hell did you do? She screamed. I smiled. Me. I just gave you exactly what you earned. She was breathing heavy. Probably pacing. You ruined my job. Tyler got fired. My boss called me a disappointment and told me to clean out my desk. Do you have any idea what you've done? I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. Yeah, I do. Another pause. Then she tried a different approach. Eric, baby, listen to me. This is all a mistake. I don't know what. No, I cut her off. You made the mistake. I just made sure you paid for it. Silence. Thick, heavy silence. Then, her voice dropped. Cold. You want to punish me? She whispered. Fine. You win. But you don't have to be such a monster about it. I actually laughed at that. I was the monster. Oh, Mandy, I sighed. You did this to yourself. I hung up before she could say another word. And then, I blocked her. By 8 p.m., I got a text from my buddy Mark. Mark, bro, She's posting on Facebook. She's losing it. I clicked the link, and there it was, a full-blown meltdown. I never thought my husband would be this cruel. I made a mistake, but I know one deserves this level of punishment. I lost my job, my friends, my entire life in one day. Eric, if you're reading this, congratulations. You destroyed me. Are you happy now? The comments. Brutal. Her friends. Silent. Our mutuals. Calling her out. Someone even commented, "You played stupid games, Mandy. Now you're winning stupid prizes." I didn't comment. I didn't respond. I just sat there, letting it all sink in. Mandy thought she could cheat, lie, and walk away unscathed. She thought I'd just be another stupid husband who forgave and forgot. She was wrong, because now she had nothing left, and I was finally free. By the next morning, Mandy had officially hit rock bottom. Her job, gone. Her reputation, destroyed. Her affair, exposed. Her friends, silent. And the cherry on top, she had nowhere to go. See? The house, mine. The car, mine. The savings, locked up in my account. And Mandy, she had spent months living in a fantasy world, thinking she could play house with me while sneaking around with Tyler. But now, reality had slapped her in the face. So when I got home from the gym that afternoon, I wasn't surprised to find her car parked outside. And Mandy, she was sitting on our front steps, crying. I parked my car, took my time getting out, and just stood there, arms crossed. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. "Eric, please," she whispered. "Just talk to me." I leaned against my car, staring at her. "Talk about what, Mandy?" She swallowed hard, wiped her tears. "Everything. I messed up, okay? I know I did. But what you did to me..." She stopped, shaking her head. "You went too far." I laughed. Actually laughed. "Too far." I repeated. "You mean like lying to my face for a year? Using my money to take another man on vacations? Letting me come home from deployment thinking we were still in love while you were sneaking around behind my back?" She flinched. I was confused. Bullshit. My voice was sharp now. "You weren't confused, Mandy. You were selfish. You wanted both of us. And when you got caught, you wanted to play the victim." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Eric, I don't know what to do. I have nothing left." I shrugged. "Not my problem." She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Like she had expected me to break. Expected me to forgive. But that man, the one who would have fought for her, who would have begged for an explanation, he was dead. She took a shaky breath. "Can I at least come inside? Just to talk?" I looked her dead in the eye. "No." Her lip trembled. "Where am I supposed to go?" I tilted my head. "Why don't you ask Tyler?" And that broke her. She sobbed, hands shaking, body trembling. He won't talk to me." I smirked. Shocker. She buried her face in her hands. I ruined everything. I sighed, finally pushing off my car. I stepped toward her, standing just close enough to see the absolute defeat in her face. And then, in the calmest voice possible, I said, "Mandy, you deserve every bit of this." She looked up, fresh tears spilling. I shook my head. "I loved you. I gave you everything. And you threw it away like it was nothing." She opened her mouth, but I held up a hand. "I don't care why. I don't care how sorry you are. This..." I gestured to her, sitting there like a broken mess. "This is the life you built for yourself. So live in it." Then, without another word, I walked inside. I locked the door, and for the first time since I came home, I felt nothing for her. I stood behind the locked door, listening. For a moment, there was nothing, just silence. Then, soft, broken sobs. I didn't feel bad, not even a little. Mandy wasn't crying because she loved me. She wasn't crying because she lost me. She was crying because she lost everything. And it was her own damn fault. I walked to the kitchen, grabbed a beer, and sat down at the table. I had expected to feel something, anger, relief, maybe even guilt. But all I felt was peace. No more lies. No more fake smiles. No more her. After a few minutes, I heard it. Her car door slamming shut. The engine starting. Then she was gone. I let out a slow breath. Good. But I wasn't done yet. Mandy still had her claws in my life. Pictures of us together. Shared accounts. Legal loose ends. So I spent the rest of the night erasing her. First, I deleted every single photo of her from my phone. Gone. Like she never existed. Then, I went through our streaming services, removing her profiles. No more Mandy's favorites. Next, the important stuff. Insurance, credit cards, bank accounts. Every place where her name was still tied to mine, I cut her off. And finally, I took off my wedding ring. Held it in my palm for a second, just staring at it. Then, I tossed it into the trash. That was it. Mandy was officially nothing more than a bad memory. And for the first time in a long, long time, I felt free. The next morning, I woke up to 5 missed calls. All from Mandy. She was still trying. Still clinging. Still hoping there was some part of me left that would hear her out. But there wasn't. I didn't even listen to the voicemails. Just deleted them all. Then I went straight to my phone settings, blocked her number, and did the same on every social media platform she might try to reach me on. Mandy no longer existed in my world. But she wasn't ready to let go. Because by noon, she showed up at my doorstep. I watched through the peephole as she stood there, shifting on her feet. She looked awful. Hair a mess. Eyes swollen like she hadn't slept. Good. She knocked once. Then again, a little harder. Eric, I know you're in there. Her voice was small, broken. I said nothing. She let out a shaky breath. Please, just talk to me. You owe me that much. I almost laughed. I owed her. Nah. She owed me a year of my life back. She owed me loyalty. She owed me the truth. Instead, she gave me lies and betrayal. And now, she wanted closure, wanted me to ease her guilt. No chance in hell. The knocking got softer. Eric, please. I don't have anywhere else to go. Not my problem. After a few more minutes of silence, I heard her sniff, then let out a quiet, choked sob. Then, footsteps. I waited until her car pulled away before I exhaled, finally relaxing. This was the last time she would come here. I knew it. She wasn't crying because she loved me. She wasn't crying because she missed me. She was crying because the reality finally hit her. I was gone. For good. Mandy was out of my life, but there was still one last thing I needed to do. See, I knew how this played out. She'd keep trying. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But eventually, she'd get desperate. She'd find some excuse to reach out. Maybe pretend she forgot something at the house. Maybe try to send a half-assed apology. Maybe she'd try to play the "we were best friends once" card. I wasn't playing that game. So I decided to make things crystal clear. I grabbed my phone, opened up my email, and typed up my final message to Mandy. Mandy, don't contact me again. There's nothing left to talk about. No closure to give. No friendship to salvage. You made your choices. You destroyed what we had. You don't get to rewrite the story now that you don't like the ending. I don't forgive you. I don't care how sorry you are. You are nothing to me. Move on. Like I have. Eric. I read it twice. Then, I hit send. And for good measure, I blocked her email too. Mandy could scream, cry, and beg all she wanted, but wouldn't change a thing. We were done. That night, I went out for drinks with Mark and a few buddies. For the first time in months, I laughed. I felt good. I wasn't some bitter, broken husband drowning in betrayal. I was just me, a free man. And as I raised my glass, surrounded by real friends who actually gave a damn about me, I realized something. Mandy thought she had destroyed me, but in the end, she only set me free. For a few days, nothing. No calls. No texts. No surprise visits. Silence. I thought that was it. That she had finally accepted defeat. I was wrong. Because on Friday night, she showed up again. I had just gotten back from the gym, ready to enjoy a quiet evening when, bang, 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 someone was pounding on my door. I already knew who it was. I looked through the peephole. Mandy. She looked worse than before. Hair a mess, eyes bloodshot. Like she hadn't eaten or slept in days. Not my problem. I leaned against the door and waited. She knocked again. Eric, please. I know you're in there. Silence. Her voice cracked. I just need to talk. I said nothing. Then, her breathing hitched. I don't have anywhere to go. Still nothing. A sniffle. Then a quiet, broken whisper. I miss you. That almost made me laugh. She missed me. Or she missed the security I gave her. Missed having a stable life after burning hers to the ground? Nah. I wasn't falling for it. Another long pause. Then, her voice turned sharp. You really hate me that much, she spat. After everything we've been through. I smiled to myself. There it was. The real Mandy. The one who couldn't handle losing. The one who blamed everyone but herself. I didn't answer. After a moment, she let out a frustrated sob. Then, footsteps. A few seconds later, the sound of her car door slamming shut. Then, she was gone. For good, this time. I exhaled, shaking my head. That was Mandy's last move. One final attempt to claw her way back into my life. And I had shut the door on her, literally. I had officially won. And damn, it felt good. After that night, Mandy was officially out of my life. No more calls. No more surprise visits. Nothing. And for the first time in months, I felt free. No more checking my phone, waiting for the next lie. No more coming home to a woman who was pretending to love me while sneaking around behind my back. I could finally breathe again. So I did exactly that. First, I started taking care of myself. I hit the gym harder than ever. Got back into running. Even signed up for a few races. I wasn't just working out to stay in shape. I was working out to rebuild myself. Then, I started reconnecting. See? During my marriage, I had let a lot of friendships fade. Not because I wanted to, but because Mandy always had a way of making things about her. She guilt-tripped me for going out. Make little passive-aggressive comments about me, choosing my friends over her. And stupidly, I let myself pull away from the people who actually cared about me. Not anymore. I started reaching out. Old friends, guys from my unit, people I hadn't seen in years. And you know what? They welcomed me back like I had never left. One night, Mark dragged me out to a bar. Said I needed to get back in the game. At first, I wasn't interested. Relationships? Dating. I was done with all that. But then, I met her. Her name was Rachel. She was nothing like Mandy. No fake smiles. No forced conversations. Just real, genuine energy. And for the first time in a long time, I actually enjoyed talking to someone. We exchanged numbers, and before I knew it, we were texting every day. Nothing heavy, nothing serious, just easy. And damn, I forgot how good that felt. One day, out of pure curiosity, I searched Mandy's name on Facebook. Her profile, gone. I wasn't sure if she deleted it or just blocked me, but either way, I smiled. It meant I was still in her head. Meanwhile, she wasn't even a thought in mine. I had moved on, and that was the best revenge of all. Weeks passed, then a month. Life was good. I was sleeping better, laughing more, spending time with real friends. Even went on a few casual dates with Rachel. Nothing serious, but damn, it felt good to be around someone who wasn't a liar. Meant a distant memory. Until she tried one last time. It was a Saturday morning. I was grabbing coffee when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I already knew. I let it ring. Then another text came through. Eric, it's me. Please don't block me. I just need to say something. I stared at the message for a second. Then I put my phone down and finished my coffee. Mandy didn't deserve a response. She didn't deserve closure. She had already burned that bridge to the ground. A few minutes later, another text popped up. I'm sorry for everything. I miss you. I actually laughed. She didn't miss me. She missed the security, the stability, the man who took care of her while she was busy sneaking around with another guy. I wasn't that guy anymore. So, I did what I should have done a long time ago. I blocked the number. Then I leaned back, exhaled, and smiled. Mandy was finally gone. For good. And I was finally free. That was it. Mandy was gone. No more texts. No more calls. No more pathetic attempts to crawl back into my life. She had finally given up. Emmy. I had won. The best part, I never had to lift a finger again. Mandy did all the damage to herself. She lost her job, her reputation, every mutual friend we had. Nobody wanted anything to do with her after the truth came out. And Tyler, gone. Turns out he wanted a mistress, not a relationship. Once the affair was exposed, he cut her off completely. Last I heard, she was living with her sister, struggling to find a job. Meanwhile, I was thriving. One night, Mark and I were out grabbing drinks when he got a text. He smirked and turned his phone toward me. It was Mandy. She had messaged him, asking about me. Does Eric ever talk about me? Does he still hate me? I just shook my head, laughing. She really thought she was still in my head, that I was still out there hating her. The truth, I barely thought about her at all. Hate takes energy. And Mandy, she wasn't worth mine. So I told Mark exactly what to say back. Eric doesn't talk about you. At all. That was it. No anger. No emotion. Just indifference. And that probably hurt her more than anything. Because she wanted to believe she still had some control over me. That I was out there, obsessing over what she did. But the truth, I had moved on. Completely. And that was the sweetest revenge of all. I went back to my drink, laughing with my friends, feeling lighter than ever. Mandy had tried to ruin me, but all she did was set me free.